ekunqandeni ukosuleleka, ukugula nokusweleka kwabantu abaninzi ngenxa yale ntsholongwane. Urhulumente wase-Eastern Cape uza kugonya abantu abangaphezulu kwezigidi ezintathu abaneminyaka eli-18 ubudala nangaphezulu. Abasebenzi bethu bezempilo, abantu abadala, abantu ababuthathaka nabo banomgcineni bezigulo aza kugonywa kuqala. Zigcine ukhuselekile, nxiba imaski yakho, gcina umgama phakathi kwakho nomnye umntu, hlamba izandla zakho ngamanzi anesepha okanye uzikhwitshe ngesibulali-ntsholongwane rhoqo. Ngeenkcukacha ezithe vetshe, tsalela ku-0800 032 364. Lo myalezo benewuphathelwe ngurhulumente wase-Eastern Cape. Siswelekelwe kwaye sisaswelekelwa ngabantu bethu esibathandayo ngenxa yecorona. Kodwa likhona ithemba. Iingcali zempilo zide zeza nalo ichiza elikhuselekileyo eliza kuncedisa ekunqandeni ukosuleleka, ukugula nokusweleka kwabantu abaninzi ngenxa yale ntsholongwane. Urhulumente wase-Eastern Cape uza kugonya abantu abangaphezulu kwezigidi ezintathu abaneminyaka eli-18 ubudala nangaphezulu. Abasebenzi bethu bezempilo, abantu abadala, abantu ababuthathaka nabo banomgcineni bezigulo aza kugonywa kuqala. Zigcine ukhuselekile, nxiba imaski yakho, gcina umgama phakathi kwakho nomnye umntu, hlamba izandla zakho ngamanzi anesepha okanye uzikhwitshe ngesibulali-ntsholongwane rhoqo. Ngeenkcukacha ezithe vetshe, tsalela ku-0800 032 364. Lo myalezo benewuphathelwe ngurhulumente wase-Eastern Cape. Siswelekelwe kwaye sisaswelekelwa ngabantu bethu esibathandayo ngenxa yecorona. Kodwa likhona ithemba. Iingcali zempilo zide zeza nalo ichiza elikhuselekileyo eliza kuncedisa ekunqandeni ukosuleleka, ukugula nokusweleka kwabantu abaninzi ngenxa yale ntsholongwane. Urhulumente wase-Eastern Cape uza kugonya abantu abangaphezulu kwezigidi ezintathu abaneminyaka eli-18 ubudala nangaphezulu. Abasebenzi bethu bezempilo, abantu abadala, abantu ababuthathaka nabo banomgcineni bezigulo aza kugonywa kuqala. Zigcine ukhuselekile, nxiba imaski yakho, gcina umgama phakathi kwakho nomnye umntu, hlamba izandla zakho ngamanzi anesepha okanye uzikhwitshe ngesibulali-ntsholongwane rhoqo. Ngeenkcukacha ezithe vetshe, tsalela ku-0800 032 364. Lo myalezo benewuphathelwe ngurhulumente wase-Eastern Cape. Siswelekelwe kwaye sisaswelekelwa ngabantu bethu esibathandayo ngenxa yecorona. Kodwa likhona ithemba. Iingcali zempilo zide zeza nalo ichiza elikhuselekileyo eliza kuncedisa ekunqandeni ukosuleleka, ukugula nokusweleka kwabantu abaninzi ngenxa yale ntsholongwane. Urhulumente wase-Eastern Cape uza kugonya abantu abangaphezulu kwezigidi ezintathu abaneminyaka eli-18 ubudala nangaphezulu. Abasebenzi bethu bezempilo, abantu abadala, abantu ababuthathaka nabo banomgcineni bezigulo aza kugonywa kuqala. Zigcine ukhuselekile, nxiba imaski yakho, gcina umgama phakathi kwakho nomnye umntu, hlamba izandla zakho ngamanzi anesepha okanye uzikhwitshe ngesibulali-ntsholongwane rhoqo. Ngeenkcukacha ezithe vetshe, tsalela ku-0800 032 364. Lo myalezo benewuphathelwe ngurhulumente wase-Eastern Cape. Siswelekelwe kwaye sisaswelekelwa ngabantu bethu esibathandayo ngenxa yecorona. Kodwa likhona ithemba. Iingcali zempilo zide zeza nalo ichiza elikhuselekileyo eliza kuncedisa ekunqandeni ukosuleleka, ukugula nokusweleka kwabantu abaninzi ngenxa yale ntsholongwane. Urhulumente wase-Eastern Cape uza kugonya abantu abangaphezulu kwezigidi ezintathu abaneminyaka eli-18 ubudala nangaphezulu. Abasebenzi bethu bezempilo, abantu abadala, abantu ababuthathaka nabo banomgcineni bezigulo aza kugonywa kuqala. Zigcine ukhuselekile, nxiba imaski yakho, gcina umgama phakathi kwakho nomnye umntu, hlamba izandla zakho ngamanzi anesepha okanye uzikhwitshe ngesibulali-ntsholongwane rhoqo. Ngeenkcukacha ezithe vetshe, tsalela ku-0800 032 364. Lo myalezo benewuphathelwe ngurhulumente wase-Eastern Cape. Siswelekelwe kwaye sisaswelekelwa ngabantu bethu esibathandayo ngenxa yecorona. Kodwa likhona ithemba. Iingcali zempilo zide zeza nalo ichiza elikhuselekileyo eliza kuncedisa ekunqandeni ukosuleleka, ukugula nokusweleka kwabantu abaninzi ngenxa yale ntsholongwane. Urhulumente wase-Eastern Cape uza kugonya abantu abangaphezulu kwezigidi ezintathu abaneminyaka eli-18 ubudala nangaphezulu. Abasebenzi bethu bezempilo, abantu abadala, abantu ababuthathaka nabo banomgcineni bezigulo aza kugonywa kuqala. Zigcine ukhuselekile, nxiba imaski yakho, gcina umgama phakathi kwakho nomnye umntu, hlamba izandla zakho ngamanzi anesepha okanye uzikhwitshe ngesibulali ntsholongwane rhoqo. Ngeenkcukacha ezithe vetshe, tsalela ku-0800 032 364. Lo myalezo benewuphathelwe ngurhulumente wase-Eastern Cape. Siswelekelwe kwaye sisaswelekelwa ngabantu bethu esibathandayo ngenxa yecorona. Kodwa likhona ithemba. Iingcali zempilo zide zeza nalo ichiza elikhuselekileyo eliza kuncedisa ekunqandeni ukosuleleka, ukugula nokusweleka kwabantu abaninzi ngenxa yale ntsholongwane. Urhulumente wase-Eastern Cape uza kugonya abantu abangaphezulu kwezigidi ezintathu abaneminyaka eli-18 ubudala nangaphezulu. Abasebenzi bethu bezempilo, abantu abadala, abantu ababuthathaka nabo banomgcineni bezigulo aza kugonywa kuqala. Zigcine ukhuselekile, nxiba imaski yakho, gcina umgama phakathi kwakho nomnye umntu, hlamba izandla zakho ngamanzi anesepha okanye uzikhwitshe ngesibulali ntsholongwane rhoqo. Ngeenkcukacha ezithe vetshe, tsalela ku-0800 032 364. Lo myalezo benewuphathelwe ngurhulumente wase-Eastern Cape. Siswelekelwe kwaye sisaswelekelwa ngabantu bethu esibathandayo ngenxa yecorona. Kodwa likhona ithemba. Iingcali zempilo zide zeza nalo ichiza elikhuselekileyo eliza kuncedisa ekunqandeni ukosuleleka, ukugula nokusweleka kwabantu abaninzi ngenxa yale ntsholongwane. Urhulumente wase-Eastern Cape uza kugonya abantu abangaphezulu kwezigidi ezintathu abaneminyaka eli-18 ubudala nangaphezulu. Abasebenzi bethu bezempilo, abantu abadala, abantu ababuthathaka nabo banomgcineni bezigulo aza kugonywa kuqala. Zigcine ukhuselekile, nxiba imaski yakho, gcina umgama phakathi kwakho nomnye umntu, hlamba izandla zakho ngamanzi anesepha okanye uzikhwitshe ngesibulali ntsholongwane rhoqo. Ngeenkcukacha ezithe vetshe, tsalela ku-0800 032 364. Lo myalezo benewuphathelwe ngurhulumente wase-Eastern Cape. Siswelekelwe kwaye sisaswelekelwa ngabantu bethu esibathandayo ngenxa yecorona. Kodwa likhona ithemba. Iingcali zempilo zide zeza nalo ichiza elikhuselekileyo eliza kuncedisa ekunqandeni ukosuleleka, ukugula nokusweleka kwabantu abaninzi ngenxa yale ntsholongwane. Urhulumente wase-Eastern Cape uza kugonya abantu abangaphezulu kwezigidi ezintathu abaneminyaka eli-18 ubudala nangaphezulu. Abasebenzi bethu bezempilo, abantu abadala, abantu ababuthathaka nabo banomgcineni bezigulo aza kugonywa kuqala. Zigcine ukhuselekile, nxiba imaski yakho, gcina umgama phakathi kwakho nomnye umntu, hlamba izandla zakho ngamanzi anesepha okanye uzikhwitshe ngesibulali ntsholongwane rhoqo. Ngeenkcukacha ezithe vetshe, tsalela ku-0800 032 364. Lo myalezo benewuphathelwe ngurhulumente wase-Eastern Cape. Siswelekelwe kwaye sisaswelekelwa ngabantu bethu esibathandayo ngenxa yecorona. Kodwa likhona ithemba. Iingcali zempilo zide zeza nalo ichiza elikhuselekileyo eliza kuncedisa ekunqandeni ukosuleleka, ukugula nokusweleka kwabantu abaninzi ngenxa yale ntsholongwane. Urhulumente wase-Eastern Cape uza kugonya abantu abangaphezulu kwezigidi ezintathu abaneminyaka eli-18 ubudala nangaphezulu. Abasebenzi bethu bezempilo, abantu abadala, abantu ababuthathaka nabo banomgcineni bezigulo aza kugonywa kuqala. Zigcine ukhuselekile, nxiba imaski yakho, gcina umgama phakathi kwakho nomnye umntu, hlamba izandla zakho ngamanzi anesepha okanye uzikhwitshe ngesibulali ntsholongwane rhoqo. Ngeenkcukacha ezithe vetshe, tsalela ku-0800 032 364. Lo myalezo benewuphathelwe ngurhulumente wase-Eastern Cape. Siswelekelwe kwaye sisaswelekelwa ngabantu bethu esibathandayo ngenxa yecorona. Kodwa likhona ithemba. Iingcali zempilo zide zeza na
Microsoft Teams and those that are watching on other digital platforms. We invited you to the press conference where Premier MABUYANE will be sharing with you decisions of the provincial government on a number of administrative matters, administrative and governance matters. So I'm not going to waste any time with my ugly voice. I'm going to invite Premier to speak to you. Premier, if you can please approach the podium.
Sanitize uvelaphi. Uvelaphi. Thank you very much, Program Director, Mr. Squasha. Good morning to all media houses present here, and good morning also to those who are joining us virtual. We called this press conference this morning to share with you information about decisions we've taken about governance matters of our provincial government. Before we do that, allow me to update you about our response to COVID-19 in the Eastern Cape province. The report released by Minister of Health last night showed that our province has 413,000 people that have been infected with coronavirus. Sadly, we have lost about 11,150 people, of which 181,385 people have recovered from this virus, and we have 878 active cases in the entire province. Our province has received 8,120 doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccines, and 4,920 doses have been distributed to Nelson Mandela Academic Hospital in Mthatha, and 3,200 doses have been distributed to the Livingston Hospital in Port Elizabeth. We are proud as the Eastern Cape province to announce that this vaccine was tested in our province, and we're proud that the medical schools of Walter Sisulu University and Nelson Mandela Academic Hospital took part in the research trials of this vaccine. We appreciate the people that participated in the research trial. We appreciate the scientists of the medical school and the staff of the Nelson Mandela Academic Hospital for their involvement in the research trial. We are also proud that during Q2 of this year, the vaccine will be manufactured in our province in Nelson Mandela Bay Metro. This will put us in a better advantage going forward in terms of our vaccination program. Tomorrow, I'll be visiting Nelson Mandela Academic Hospital in Mthatha to monitor the start of the vaccination program in our province. When allegations were made about the government's procurement of goods and services, I wrote to the president of our country sometime last year in May, asking him to proclaim SIU investigation of all allegations that were made against the provincial government. The investigations were conducted and departments cooperated with the investigations. The task of the SIU was to find evidence of wrongdoing and identify those responsible for wrongdoing in the procurement of goods and services. We also note that concurrent to this SIU investigation, the Public Protector is also conducting investigations on the same matters. We are happy that at a national level, there is a fusion center where they come together and share and compare notes. In October last year, we met with the SIU for an update on the investigation investigation conducted and progress made by their unit in our province. That meeting took place on the 13th of October last year, and during the meeting, we informed the SIU that we want to entertain the final report, not preliminary reports. The meeting was important because as the Premier of the province, I wanted to know the status and progress made in all investigations being conducted by special investigating unit in our province. My office received a hand-delivered copy of the referral letters from the SIU on the 1st February this year. When I received the letters from the SIU, I immediately acted on them, and this was followed by a meeting with SIU on the 4th of February this year, where they formally tabled the report to me. Arising from the meeting, SIU committed on a supplementary submission as a response to clarify certain questions that we were raising in the meeting, and their supplementary submission was received by my office on the 12th of February, 2021. In the report, the SIU has submitted serious findings of misconduct against both the MEC of the department, Ms. Cindy Swagomba, and the former head of the department, Dr. Tobile Mbengashe. As part of their process, the SIU referred the letters concerning their findings about MEC and Dr. Mbengashe to me for me to take an action on findings. I engaged both MEC and Dr. Mbengashe on findings of misconduct against them that were made by the SIU in the report. I asked both to submit representations on why an action should not be taken against them. They both submitted their representation to me. Thereafter, I met with them to communicate the action we had to take that was appropriate under the circumstances. The SIU report confirms that there was an award made by the department to the company, but there was no public money spent on the procurement of motorbikes. There were other findings of investigations conducted by the SIU on the procurement of goods and services by the OR Tambo District Municipality, the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro Municipality, and the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure. With regards to the findings made against the two municipalities, we expect the mayors of these municipalities to take action against individuals found to have breached the procurement policies and laws. Equally, we expect municipal councils to ensure that proper action is taken by municipal administration of these two municipalities, respectively. We welcome the fact that no irregularities were found in the procurement of service providers by the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure to refurbish our health facilities, work that is still ongoing. Infrastructure upgrades at 66 health facilities have been completed in our province. We also welcome the fact that the report confirms that the provincial government did not award a tender to a company of a deceased person as it was wrongly claimed, falsely reported by our local newspaper, Daily Dispatch, a story that was also carried by a number of other media houses and commentators that relied on a false and incorrect information from the newspaper. As the provincial government, we publicized the list of all service providers that were procured goods and services from and during the COVID-19 pandemic as part of our transparency and accountability commitment. We will continue publishing such lists on a quarterly basis. We did not only publish names of companies, we also published names of directors of these companies because we have nothing to hide. We went out to public to say those who believe that those companies might have been procured wrongly are free to come and approach these law enforcement agencies. We also note that Ms. Cindy Swagomba is one of the people charged by the National Prosecuting Authority for fraud and corruption on the matter related to the preparation for the funeral of and memorial service of our late former President Nelson Mandela. Now that the charges have been re-enrolled, all persons accused will get an opportunity to deal with charges that have been there for a long time. We are concerned that this case has been there for more than 7 years without progress to a point where charges were provisionally withdrawn. It is worth making this point that when law enforcement agencies investigate allegations of corruption and wrongdoing, they must investigate thoroughly, arrest people for prosecution, and not arrest people for further investigation, as justice delayed is justice denied. It is important to raise this point because investigating thoroughly will mean when arrests are made, cases are ready for prosecution so that people accused can answer to the charges and matters can be processed by the courts of laws. In the spirit of justice, it is not in the interest of justice to prolong investigation after people have been arrested and days of trials keeps on being postponed. I engaged Ms. Gomba on the findings of the SIU report, and in light of the charges she is facing after the NPA re-enrolled the charges, I have taken a decision to relieve Ms. Cindy Swagomba of her duties as the member of the Executive Council for the Department of Health. The decision to relieve Ms. Gomba of her duties as the member of the Executive Council will allow her time and space to attend to the case against her. This decision is in the best interest of the MEC and the provincial government. I want to thank Ms. Gomba for her service to the people of our province during her time as an MEC for the Department of Health. She led the department during the most difficult and trying time of COVID-19 pandemic. I've decided to appoint MEC Xolile Ngata, who is currently an MEC of Cogta, as an acting MEC for the Department of Health for the time being. The appointment of the MEC of Health to lead the department will be announced in due course. Findings against Dr. Mbengashe related to the work he did when he was the head of the Provincial Department of Health. I engaged Dr. Mbengashe on the findings of the SIU. I asked him to submit representation on the findings. I've taken a decision that in the light of the findings, the representation he made, Dr. Mbengashe will be subjected to a disciplinary action in line with the recommendation of the SIU, where he will be given an opportunity to present his case, answer to the findings of the SIU regarding his action on the procurement of the motorbikes by the department. We will wait for that process to conclude. We welcome the fact that after investigation, these allegations these allegations, the SIU referred some of the matters to the tribunal, others to the NPA for prosecution. The action I have taken on this matter is to ensure that our government attends to all allegations and that people implicated are held accountable for their actions. In this case, allegations were made, we acted and called for an investigation. Investigations were conducted and now we are acting on the findings of the report. There are other investigations that are still being conducted by the SIU concerning the procurement of goods and services by the provincial government departments and other institutions of government in our province. When reports of those investigations are submitted to me, I will apply my mind as the Premier of this province and announce my decisions on each matter. The SIU report that was published on matters that have been investigated by the unity thus far shows that government is investigating allegations of corruption and wrongdoing, and that action is taken when corruption and wrongdoing is found. We want to make sure that the work of government continues without stains of corruption or wrongdoing. We will continue fighting corruption and wrongdoing in our government. I have instructed the Director General and the Head of Department of Provincial Treasury to form a rapid response team together with the acting HOD of the Department of Health to attend to ongoing operational and administrative challenges in the department. This ranges from the failure to pay service providers within 30 days. We encourage community health workers to use proper channels to raise their labor matters. Closing down clinics is not the right way to raise their concern. Health facilities belong to the people of this province. There is no person with a right to close down our health institutions. We understand the situation they are facing. However, the financial position of the department makes it impossible for them to be absorbed. Appreciating the work they are doing for our people, working with the National Department of Health, we are exploring all possible solutions to the challenge that they have gone through. They understand I've met them on numerous occasions. Ndizamubona lo mcimbi banazo i-proposals abanazo, but isimo semali karhulumente ngoku siyenza imeko ibe mandundu kakhulu. So silapha ke sigxininisisa into kokuba njengoba besitshilo uba ngoMeyi sathi sawuva ingxolo nezikhalazo ezityhola urhwaphilizo, sacela umongameli welizwe okokuba asincedise ngokokuba asizisele i-SIU izoqwalasela imiba ethile. Siyacacisa ke into yoba siyavuya ke kwezi investigation kubonakala into kokuba akukho mali karhulumente ilahlekileyo. Zikhona ke amagqwithi-gqwithi akhonjwa ke ku-MEC ngendlela ethe yalandeleka phambi kokuba kufikelele kuloo nto, etyhola into kubonakalisa into yoba uye wanako ukuziphatha ngendlela engafanelekanga ngalo lonke eli xesha. So ndilapha ke namhlanje emveni kokuba ndiye ndafakana imilomo nabo bonke abachaphazelekayo ukuquka no-MEC ukuthi elasebe lifuna sijongane nomsebenzi noxanduva elasebe elinawo ukuqinisekisa inkonzo ezingenachaphaza nezisulungekileyo okokuba zisiwe ebantwini ngokukhawuleza. Ndicinga into yokokuba iya kumnceda imnike ithuba elifanelekileyo naye okokuba ajongane nezingxaki engenaxanduva namthwalo wokujongana nesebe elineengxaki ezingapheliyo. Kona siyayazi into yokokuba phaa kwela sebe kuninzi okwenzekayo, mininzi imigushuzo engacacanga eyenzekayo. Siyayazi uba no-MEC ebeqalise iinkqubo zophanda phaa, zikhona ii-reports ezisendleleni ezizayo. Yonke loo nto ibisenziwa izawuqokelelwa ibekwe apha phambi kwethu, siqinisekise into yokokuba siyayilandela. Asizushiya nanye into ethe yeza ngaphambili ebeyiphandwa ishiwe ingacaciswanga, kwaye wonke umuntu ochaphazelekayo nofumaniseka enegalelo ekungasebenzeni kakuhle nokubangela umdinzi netyeneba kurhulumente we-African National Congress, sizawuqinisekisa into yokokuba kwiimeko ezinjalo siyasebenza ngaphandle kwamathandabuzo. So sima apha phambi kwabantu beluphondo sizibophelela siqinisekisa into kokuba obesikuxelelwe ngumbutho olawulayo iAfrican National Congress okokuba masilwe nalo urhwaphilizo nokungaziphathi kakuhle emisebenzini esikuyo sijijisane nayo lo meko ngaphandle kokuba sisizelane lonto sizawuyenza kuba urhulumente lo ngowabantu kwaye ngurhulumente obekwe ngabantu. So sizama ukuthi sonke thina baseburhulumenteni singabantu abebe nethamsanqa abambalwa ithamsanqa lokokuba sihambe siyoba zizicaka zabantu sikhonze abantu kulonto. Siyayivuyela ke into kokuba kuyo yonke le meko njengoba besike satsho ngaphambili ukuba asiqondi into kokuba ikhona imali karhulumente echithakeleyo kodwa siyayazi ba xa uthe kuphula imithetho ethile eburhulumenteni njengomphathiswa kuye kunyanzeleke ba ezinye imeko zifune ukuchaphazela ungaqondi. Sikuloo meko ke kule meko yelasebe lakwa health elidibanisa ke nezinye imeko ezifana nale meko ibisandukwenzeka phaya Buffalo City enento kwenza nomngcwabo kaTata uMandela. Sisitsho into kokuba kwi-Hawks nakubo bonke abantu abasebenza phaya kwi-law enforcement agencies ne-NPA funeka siyazi ba ubomi babantu asiyonto yodlala. Siyacela into kokuba noko xa kusetyenzwa makusetyenzwe ngendlela ekhawulezileyo khona ukuze abantu abachaphazeleka abanikwe indlela yoziphendulela ngokukhawuleza. Sele begqibe iminyaka esixhenxe phaya ubomi babo bahlukunyezwa ngendlela engummangaliso bathi sa yonke indawo. So no emveni kweminyaka esixhenxe siyaphinda siyabuyela kulaa ndawo sasishiyene kuyo kodwa ke sithi kuba noko abantu beliphondo they deserve better. Abantu beliphondo bafuna inkokheli ekufuneka zijongene neengxaki. Sineengxaki ezinkulu njengokuba ndidla ngokutsho uba iingxaki zeliphondo zimbaxa okwamanxeba empawula. Kuyanyanzeleka ke ngamaxesha onke sizinike ingqiqo efanelekileyo siqwalaselane nazo sizijule ijacu ukuqiniseka uba yonke into ebefanele siyayenza siyenza ngendlela esulungekileyo kwaye apho kufuneka siphendule khona funeka siphendule wonke umuntu onoxanduva nomuntu onikwe isikhundla esifana nesikhundla esizinikweyo funeka ngamaxesha onke sikwazi uziphendulela. So i-investigation ke okanye uphando oluyenziwe xa lukhupha iziphumo kunzima ungathi iziphumo azikhutshwanga zikhutshiwe kuba uphando lukunika ithuba lobuziphendulele wabuziphendulele kubakho isigqibo sophando. So sikuloo meko ke esithe safikelela kuyo. Siyafuna ke ukuthi ke kubantu beliphondo namhlanje ndima apha ndizothi uMEC waphaya siyamsusa esikhundleni sakhe njengomphathiswa uqala namhlanje simnike nethuba lokulandela imeko ezifanelekileyo zokujongana nezi zityholo abekwa zona ngendlela enothi ikwazi ukumnceda. Uzawubuya nangaphambili nabanye babe kule meko uzawukwazi ubuya uzawuphinda abuyele kulaa mbutho wakhe. Laa mbutho wakhe uyawuhlala unoxanduva ngamalungu awo namalungu asulungekileyo namalungu anyanisekileyo kuwo. Ngaloo mazwi ke besizowuthetha nje loo nto namhlanje asenanto ezininzi esinawuzithetha. Enkosi.
Thank you, Premier. We will now take questions from the members of the media. Sizawuqala ngaba balapha. Those that are joining on the virtual platforms, you are encouraged to raise up your hands so that we can allow you to ask questions. Kiwa, you will unmute them. They will be using that only when they are asking questions. You can disconnect it now. So, Masias goes. Chalam buzol figi. Chalam. On a microphone. Kobaches.
And who's the umbuzo uthi now that Premier uthe wabeka uyamkhulula uMEC wakwa health phansi ke kwesisityholo njengoba nawo sitsho if bezingekho ezisityholo mhlawumbe ndingabuza into yobana if bezingekho ezisityholo neripoti SIU including ke nezi zithe zavuswa ke zii-Hawks phaya kwinkundla yasemonti ubungasithabatha isigqibo ngokumayelana
Nkosi Choice. Dlamini.
Because now we are trying to split this
Ungumni kanti. Mfengu yonke into eyo nje.
The Premier said that because the province deserves better. Now appoint a Premier there's this cloud hanging over it. Weren't you aware then the province deserved better? Because
Okay. Banom. Kimberly. Connector ke Q. Michael. Unmute yourself and speak of overhold your peace.
I have, thank you. I just wanted to know how long the copter ABC will be in the position. And will Ms. Gomba stay on as an MPL or must she also step aside from that position?
Okay, thank you. Any other hands? Diamond? Okay. Premier, if you can please respond. Those are the only questions. So we're not going to have a second round of questions. Thank you.
Igama awunambuzo inhloko yakho ithambile. Cacelwa lula. Thank you very much, facilitator. Kukho ixesha mfoka Velaphi apho kuye kwenziwe khona i-assessment. And i-assessment ayenziwe estratweni njengoba kuhanjwa umane ujonga uba ubona njani wena usisiqu. That's why kubakho i-performance agreement between MECs and Premier, but also on overall the expectation of the governing party on the electoral mandate and its implementation. So that's a process on its own. All MECs would have been subjected to that. I know some people were calling for this even when we were still even in the first year. That is the planning phase of our sixth administration. So clearly at some point there would be normal reshuffling if there is a need of that reshuffling based on the scientific process of assessment and monitoring and evaluation of performance of every individual, including Premier himself. So the issue that that would be determined by that process. Whoever that is in that space would have been there. But I can tell you, under this difficult situation, MEC Gomba tried her level best. She has worked very hard, knowing problems of the Department of Health. Challenges in that department, as we have said, are actually historic, are actually endemic, are actually systemic. We have been removing MECs and HODs, and I was clear in my mind that this is not a right way to deal with problems in that department. You needed a better way of dealing with that. And she was coming all right, because she was basically dealing with actually core fundamental issues that have been really causing havoc in the department, so to speak. It was unfortunate that something of this nature happened, which it would have not been actually preempted, so to speak. On the question, Yako Yanga, that appointed with this dark cloud hanging, there was no dark cloud. There was a silver lining when we are appointed here. So she went through a process in the organization called the Integrity Commission, which found them really not much on what it would have been said. So the withdrawal or the provisional withdrawal of charges against them was almost talking to what we would have actually interacted with as an organization. So there was no point for us not to consider her deployment. And I still believe that her deployment is a deployment that we really needed there, because she was hands-on, she was emphatic, she was committed, she was dedicated. She did a lot of sacrifices. If you have never had COVID-19, you do not understand the sacrifice that we have gone through. Because when you have COVID-19, you are between life and death, out of work and commitment. Not that she got it somewhere idly. She has been really in thick of things, doing her work, dedicated her life into the people of the Eastern Cape. So I don't think it would be a regret, so to speak, because we followed the process. These matters were actually looked at. Kimberly, the MEC will act there as long as we have not yet found the new appointment. And we were going to follow our own organizational process of appointing the MEC there at an appropriate time. Premier, with his prerogative, will announce the new MEC in the department. Just hang on, wait a bit, and you will get that information. Yes, of course, she will remain an MPL. She will remain in the legislature. Here we are dealing with the executive part, which is an extra responsibility on her in terms of the deployment she had. All other processes are being discussed organizationally in terms of the guidelines and organizational issues on how to deal with public representatives. We are following that national process, which is being guided by the organization itself for a number of those who are affected into this kind of a process, whether you want to talk about step aside, etc. Here I'm acting on this issue simply because it has been brought to my attention, and what I've seen with the representation that I got from her compels me to act in the manner in which I've actually acted. So, yanga ke kwakungekho SIU, because my point, so yayingekho. It would have only been Nelson Mandela thing, which was also the way that I've explained it to you. So SIU came in later, as we have said. We have taken that decision ourselves when allegations were actually mushrooming left, right, and center on the issues of allegations. And then we have said we would want to preside over a clean sixth administration and deal decisively with chronic problems that actually have been paralyzing the administration of our province for some time. It was not a good feeling when you hear and listening to media saying Eastern Cape is the #1 corruption center in this country. Flawed and sometimes wild, baseless allegations that are really unfounded, which were thrown around. And we thought a process, scientific process, investigation process will lead to that. That's why we stand here legally bit happy and relieved that no money spent. Because when this matter went out sometime around about May, we said, department, stop any transaction around this matter. No payment must be done around this matter, whether the procurement was followed correctly or not. I know AG South Africa has been following this same transaction. We still would be willing to get a sense from them whether there was something wrong with procurement or not. These are different issues that we are all actually looking at them. So we have been consistent. We are going to be consistent. Every time we get reports, let's just be patient and wait for the reports to come. SIU, they are still continuing with the Department of Health. I know even yesterday, they were in the department to look for more and ask for more files, because we have said, let's make sure, the reason that we took a decision, which was not really done by any other province, so to speak, of publicizing not only the list of companies, but also the directors and the names of companies. Because we're dealing with a problem here of those who are hiding behind and some claiming to be proxies and representing others. So that out there in the public, we can get our people participating, coming on board. We committed on clean government. We committed on confronting corruption. Unfortunately, things like this would happen. And then surely MEC has got a right to take this matter further, pursue it in terms of cleaning her name So we are going to be actually watching the space and allowing that process to unfold. From where we are, we have done our part, and we think that we are on a correct path to ensure that we deal with this matter, uproot corruption, deal with wrongdoing in our government, make everyone to understand and appreciate that you are in government to serve our people. Without doubt, MEC was there to do that. Commitment she has demonstrated, she has shown. This was just an unfortunate incident as you read the report of SIU. But she had the time, she had the right to respond with details on the allegation that were actually put before her. From there, I think we are on a right track, slowly but surely. I believe we're going to get to the bottom of everything that would have been paralyzing the provincial administration with regard to corruption or any other related cases of corruption, so to speak, moving forward. Thank you very much. It's closed.
Thank you, Premier, for the responses. Just to make a few announcements, colleagues. At 2 o'clock, Premier will be visiting the family of the late boxing manager and promoter, Mr. Mzima Mnguni, in East London at 2 o'clock. And tomorrow morning, as Premier mentioned, he will be visiting, he will be doing a back-to-school visit in Mthatha as early as 8 o'clock and join the vaccination program at the Nelson Mandela Academic Hospital in Mthatha. So we're extending this invitation to you to join the Premier in these important engagements. The last announcement that we just want to make is we have shared with you the media invite for the State of the Province address, which will be delivered by the Premier on the 23rd of February. It is important that those of you who will be attending the State of the Province address respond as per the invite so that we know who is coming to the SOPA and to make all the required preparations. We have come to the end of our press conference. Thank you very much. We will send out the press kit to members of the media that were not here from, I think, a few minutes from now. Thank you very much. The press conference is adjourned.